So, you may not be aware, given the fact that this game is not super popular, but Remedy actually released a new game this year called FCB Firebreak, and it was a huge disaster. So, just a couple weeks ago, they kind of tried to mount a release of sorts where they fixed a lot of stuff, added updates, that kind of thing. I picked it up then. It was fun, but it's so very different from Control that it's not really surprising that it didn't appeal to people who enjoyed Control. You know, it's a team based shooter versus Control being a single player game. And it really, really wasn't marketed well at all when it first came out. And when people, probably heard about it when they were trying to remarket it these last few weeks, they were probably like, oh, let me check this out. Oh, the reviews are bad. No thanks. It was on sale. I thought it'd be interesting to play. My friend and I, we like these sorts of games, so we were having a good time with it. But I really do understand why it wasn't super popular. But this has led to the CEO of Remedy stepping down. So this is from PC Gamer and Robin Valentine, who says, as FBC Firebreak fails to recover from its disastrous launch and profit warnings are issued to shareholders, the CEO of Remedy Entertainment is stepping down. Taro Bertala is leaving the company after 9 years in the role. It's been a strange few years for Remedy Entertainment. On one hand, it's more independent and successful than ever before. With less reliance on publisher investments, it's been able to develop and expand its studio-owned properties into a connected universe and move towards self-publishing, and has produced some of its most critically acclaimed games ever, including ambitious sequel to Alan Wake 2. On the other hand, Alan Wake 2 took about a year and a half to even start turning a profit, and most recently, its first self-published game, FBC Firebreak, was a dispiriting flop, with the studio having to issue a profit warning to shareholders in the wake of poor sales and feeble player count. Now Remedy CEO Taro Vertala has announced he's stepping down after 9 years in the role, as reported by Games Industry. The company hasn't revealed, of course, the reason for Vertala's leaving, but it's not hard to draw connections to those recent troubles. What was supposed to be a bold new step for Remedy instead became perhaps its biggest ever embarrassment. It's likely that someone had to take the responsibility for that. In the interim, Chief Product Officer Marcus Mackey will be overseeing things. He's one of the original co-founders, but the hunt is on for a permanent replacement. Maybe it's time to polish up your CV. Well, dunking on video game CEOs is certainly not something we shy away from around here. The story here does seem nuanced. FBC Firebreak always seemed like a risky and potentially misguided project, not only straying from the studio's core strengths, but when I visited the studio ahead of its release, I got a strong sense of the team's passion for co-op gaming, but equally found no clear answer to the most important question: who's it actually for? And it's easy to point as a major error in judgment from senior leadership. So you can go read the rest of that article. I, in fact, implore you to do so. Support journalism, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's not terribly surprising that, one, studios are chasing the dragon of these recurring profit models, stuff that you can put out like a Fortnite, like Destiny even, and bank on it yielding good results for years and years to come. But I don't think every studio is, one, capable of making this, or two, should. I mean, we already knew that Remedy was great at making single player games. The fact that they went out of their way to do something like this that really wasn't for their core audience, and it was never marketed well enough to reach their, the wider base. Like, I'm somebody who did buy it. I only bought it because someone I know on TikTok bought it also and was playing it and promoting it. Honestly, it may have been a sponsored spot by them, but I was influenced and I bought it, and I think the game's totally fine. I'm very into the world of Control, but yeah, it seems like a mistake, and a mistake that a lot of gaming companies are making, trying to get into this. And we're seeing so many attempts. Concord was probably the most famous and biggest disaster of this type of game, but here the CEO Remedy had to take the hit for it, and hopefully the shareholders recognize that this isn't really a path for every single game studio to go down. And if you're investing in a studio like Remedy, you're investing into them for their single player games. But what are your thoughts? Have you tried out FBC Firebreak? Do you enjoy it? Let me know in the comments. And are you surprised that even a studio like Remedy is kind of being forced to chase the dragon of these recurrable, like infinite revenue models of recurring revenue models is the word I was looking for. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, please check out our main channel, Wicked Everything. This channel is, of course, Those Fake Nerds, where we cover nerd and pop culture news. And we have our sports channel, Wicked Sports, as well as our podcasting channel, Better Radio, and our channel, Wicked Scary, where we cover cryptids and urban legends. Perfect for this time of year, and if you're a fan of FBC Firebreak, probably would be into that channel. So that one's Wicked Scary. Go check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.